yeah, let's try to bring this world building into the music.
I'm Tech Times. I'm with Tech Times. I'm here with Melodie Mousset from PatchXR, correct? PatchXR, but PatchXR also runs PatchWorld, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Now, can you introduce yourself, Melodie, please?
Yeah, so my name is Melodie Mousset. I'm the co-founder and artistic director, so doing all the business relation at PatchXR. We incorporated the company 2 years ago. I myself come from the contemporary art world, so very unusual background for a founder. I went to art school and fell in love with virtual reality as I was exploring some art project in 2012, so super early on. And I've made my first VR in the hospital in a cave, actually. So this before there was even an Oculus.
That's
Before
awesome.
there was any headsets. Yeah, so I was already working in VR very early on, and I fell in love with the technology. My co-founder Edo, one of my co-founder Edo, also started very very early on. Like he came from more the music side, and I come from the art side. So PatchWorld is really coming together of this artistic musical vision, basically giving a platform and environment for creator to express themselves in this fantastic medium, but which until now were very inaccessible and very expensive for anyone who wanted to create this immersive interactive world. So yeah, in a few words, that's me, Melodie.
That's awesome.
On an entrepreneur journey now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was super excited. PatchWorld was just released 2 weeks ago.
On Oculus, correct?
Yeah, on the Oculus Store.
How
Yeah,
was that? Do you mind answering like how was that process of getting that onto Meta's I guess platform?
yeah. So yeah, it was also a journey because 2 years ago, Edu and I got together basically with this idea of creating PatchWorld. So he had built this whole engine to
Yeah.
create music in real time for a previous app that he was building that was called MOOCs, which got released like in green light on Steam 2017. Was working on a multiplayer VR platform called Hana Hana, which was also a creative world where you can build hand and collaborate.
Surrealist VR artwork.
Yeah, very surreal sculptures and very artistic. And when we met, we thought, okay, let's bring the team and the vision, because he built this technology which enabled to prototype in VR, and I was really into this very intuitive way of creating. So it's like, yeah, let's try to bring this world building into the music. Like he had a music instrument maker, basically. So we started to draft, a concept of what would be PatchWorld, what would be this vision that we have. And I had an exhibition in San Francisco at Swiss Next back in 2019, and I was exhibiting Hana Hana, my previous work, Jellyfish, which was a collaboration already with Edo and I, where you can sing in the quest, and then you would see your voice animate a jellyfish, and then you could control a whole swarm of jellyfish, and you could sing with them, and it was like very beautiful. So we're showing that, and we were showing the MOOCs expanded into the beginning of PatchWorld, and we invited Oculus to come and join the show, and they were very impressed with the vision, but they thought, yeah, this needed work. So then it was a lot of back and forth with the Oculus team. Back then, it was before they had the Game Adjacent grant. So there was not really, so they couldn't fit us anywhere basically. So they
Yeah.
were like, we really like what you do, but it's not really a game, and we don't really have structure to support this kind of thing. But then they were like, oh man, now we got the game adjacent and this is going to be perfect for you. So yeah, bunch of back and forth, and then we came up with a concept of these 3 EPs. So there's basically PatchWorld is both a creative tool, but also kind of has a story mode where you can explore this already made world that pretty much anyone can enjoy, even if you're not a musician, even if you don't want to create your own world. Let's say you have this very direct and intuitive, surreal world where you can play with. So yeah, we kind of, laid out this like 3 words, and they really liked that because it was an approach that was, gonna work with their audience,
Yeah.
with a wider audience as well. So it was not just a geeky tool to like create in VR, but it was both, So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
on a middle ground, and yeah, we got very lucky because that really enabled us to, build a team. Really, we got together a really amazing team of developer like all around the world, and actually it was a really great experience working with Meta. Amazing QA team. Like it really helped us push the product to a level that
Interesting.
I don't think would be able to do it without their, well, it's really hard to, get
Oh,
all
I'm
the
sure.
green light to go on the store. But I think it's, today the product is really strong, and I think it's because they really pushed us in that direction. So yeah,
Now,
very,
the
yeah.
um, the world itself inside the game is called the musicverse. Can you explain to me why it's called the musicverse? You kind of already went over it that you're creating sounds and stuff, but
Mhm.
why musicverse? Why not like artverse or something?
Yeah. So first of all, I think it's important to say why we call it verse and not just, not just something else. Is
Yeah.
because, I mean, currently the app, what you see in the app currently is like maybe 10% of what it is. So there's a lot that is just still hidden because we still need to, a lot of polish to get to
Of
the
course.
quality level that, is required for to go on Quest. But on the beta, you have pretty much the whole thing where it's all a user-generated content. It's persistent world. People can download each other's word, remix, and publish it
Awesome.
again. So we really have the whole like cloud infrastructure for real-time collaboration, remote collaboration, performance real-time, like so there is really a whole universe of worlds created by their user that is coming to life. And so this is
That's
why we
amazing.
call it a verse.
Yeah.
It is not just, a closed app. It's something that is really alive and really remixable and customizable and, owned by its users. And we really care about that. And why music verse? Because, the whole technology that's been built on the engine that we created is a music engine. So it's all based on,
Gotcha.
LFO.
Yep.
All the blocks are based on sound. So the lowest level blocks, it's on an oscillator. So, you can really build your instrument. Like if you're a geek and you know how to patch, sound from scratch, you can really start spending hours and hours to just patch things from oscillator and build,
Wow.
entire synthesizers out of, yeah. So like, for example, if you're familiar with Virtuoso, with sound stage, that was also an amazing app that is not, is not out there anymore. Well,
Yeah.
basically everything you see in this app can be created in Patch because you can build any instrument you can imagine. So in that sense, it's like, a music verse. And so this is the more techie part. But then if you're more interested in performing and singing and dancing and creating a band and more into the making music stuff and not just creating crazy sound, well, you can also do it because you have like devices that replicate yourself, create band, like perform, and
Yep.
yeah, you basically can do everything with the Quest. So it's like it's quite cool.
That's awesome. Now, you mentioned that there's a story mode, and then there's a whole catalog of other people's creations that they could go and mess around with, and even explore. Can two people just join together and create their own music together, or do they have to do it separately? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So currently, you cannot do it in real time. So
Okay.
what you can do is that you can record yourself performing with an instrument, publish it, and then another one can come and record themselves afterwards. So this is working fine. But we're already working. We have an MVP of multiplayer. So we're actually hoping to host our first rave party at the end of the summer. But it's like, I think it's gonna take like at least until the end of the year, because it's really, we're talking about high degree interaction here, like making music with others in distance. I mean, it's gonna be wonderful, but it's also a lot of challenges. So right now it's gonna be easier to perform a live techno set and getting an audience. That's gonna be easier than getting just two people in a room jamming together. But also depending on the instrument you're using, right? If you're just like turning a couple of knobs and just changing value, or if you're just hitting some pad. I mean, I think that to get the full scope, it will take some time, but that's where we're going.
Good. No, that's awesome. Do you have your own personal favorites? Creations maybe you made that you've seen? I know it'd probably be hard, I guess, to not visualize it, to show it, but maybe you can explain maybe some of your favorite creations that you've seen or that you've created.
Let me think. Well, I have to say, like, every time we have so before we released the app, we were in beta for 2 years, and we were doing these patchathons. Patchathons are type of hackathons where basically we had this open call, and it was during COVID, so it was always online, which was great, because then you would have an open call, get artists from all around the world, apply, then we'd select between 10 and 20, and you'll have like a whole crazy range of artists from all around the world, like from Chile to Japan and to Mexico, and and everyone was just like come in and do things that we wouldn't know it was even possible to do with the app, like mixing live coding with Patch, and doing like some robots that plays music and just performing with robot that plays music, everything in VR. Some just been like creating Beat Saber and Vader's voice, like filter for the voice. That it's like,
wow.
I mean, I can't really tell. Like, I have a favorite. I feel like every time I see somebody engage fully with this thing, I would just get like, what? You can do that? You can do this? So yeah, I mean, also, like, I'm so impressed. We have this one user called Tiger. I mean, his real name is Ricardo Ferri. He's like, I think he's a bit older than me. He must be in his 40s, 44 or something. And he, he's kind of a legend of electronic music in Italy. And he's been falling in love with Patch like since ever it was in beta. And he's been spending hundreds of hours patching instrument. And I don't know, like every time you release a track with Patch, I'm just like, I'm mind blown, So yeah,
that's awesome.
There's just some example, but yeah. And now it's more excited, because I mean, we were in close beta with 200-300 people, and I mean, I haven't checked the latest number, but it's just crazy how this is gonna grow. So
for sure,
gonna be exponential.
Music itself is endless, boundless. Like there's still sounds that we have yet to hear, and I feel people will be imaginative for sure. Now have you? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, I mean, some kind of feedback that we got from people using Patch, or the reason why they come to us is also because musician artists are looking for different ways to express themselves, which is not just music, not just performance, but also something completely new where, you know, music is visual, visual is sound, like you can touch your sound, and really playing with this interaction of senses and discipline. So I think there is a real appeal from the creatives today to push, you know, it's like total art where everything comes together. And yes, it's not game, but it's visual music. It's visual, alive music. You know, I don't know. There's something new going on, and we're super excited that maybe we are empowering that new art form.
Well, I wrote an article, I want to say in February, about an artist group that used Unreal Engine to make a music video. So you're absolutely right. You know, these times are changing. Like, you know, we're on the cusp of, you know, the metaverse, whatever, you know. New forms of art are gonna come out of this, like how we use interact VR or even AR. It'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. I was going to ask, and you already kind of mentioned it, but have you had any artists come and ask maybe to collaborate, to put their tracks even in your songs or in your game? Any of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we get pretty much every day. I mean, we have, I don't know if you're talking about, you know, well-known artists in particular or just any artist. But yeah, that's the kind of people who write us. Yeah, these are the people that come to us. They want to,
awesome.
you know, yeah, some of them, we had some proposition of like more visual artists as well that wanted to bring their environment to the platform. Also asking if, you know, we were gonna sell NFTs, and which we, you know, at some point we were looking into it, and we had to step back a little bit.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh wow. And do you mind me asking why? Why did you even consider NFTs?
Well, considering it, because I mean it seemed like an interesting model for artists to start with, and also seemed interesting on the fundraising side for us.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's also felt like the way the platform is structured, like where everybody can remix each other's work and collaborate. So the shared authorship and shared co-ownership seemed like really fitting with you know, the Web3 protocols. And yeah, so I mean, it seemed like a kind of perfect fit, but also, you know, it's, you know, already our app is so you can do so much, and we just have to not, you know, we cannot lose our focus. And also it felt like there's just so much noise in the NFT space, and we have a tech that we've been building for some years now, and it felt like we didn't want to be misunderstood with, you know, mismatch with you know, this brand new project that came out of an NFT project. Like, we're not an NFT project, we're like a creative tool for, you know, the future of music and art. And this is really where our strong core is. And so I think, yeah, we just at some point we're like, all right, that was interesting, we got to know some stuff, but we'll look at this later. Let's focus on our core knowledge, and, you know, let's see what's the world, how the world works. We'll work out NFT trends.
I mean, look at it now. The NFT marketplace is kind of failing in a sense, a little bit, you know, and it's, I feel like the market's
also have to say, our community, our beta community did not, was kind of like, why you guys are doing this? Why are you looking at that? It's like, why? We don't want to talk about crypto in our Discord channel. We just want to talk about patching. I was like, all right, we're not going to force you to do it. If you don't want it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, no, you get the same pushback just in the video game industry writ large. You know, it's all these young generations. They don't want that. They want the experience. They don't want, you know, the other stuff. You know, it's interesting. Now, are there any interesting or, you know, cool stuff like that's coming to PatchWorld in the near future that you're working on right now? that you can
Well,
talk about? I mean, we talked about the
actually,
rave, but
today there is a really huge update.
oh yeah,
So we're about to push, a major update with
today
tons of
is
new device.
July 29th because
Yeah.
they're not going to see the while.
So actually, we've been waiting for, like, at first our goal was July 21st, and we announced it pretty much everywhere, like it's coming, and we got a bit delayed, but it's really worth it. It's like a whole new devices, like a lot of patching material, a lot of new things are coming. So yeah, and hopefully we're pushing tonight. So,
Oh wow!
yeah.
Congrats. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
No, it's gonna be great. Yeah. Lot of new instruments, a lot of stuff, new blocks. So yeah. So the thing is, because I told you, like, basically the release is 10% of what's the app. So
Of
a
course.
lot of stuff is just gonna keep coming in the next weeks and months, and
Yep.
until we release multiplayer. So yeah, I think there's just like gonna be a lot of surprise. So, we had a bit of, complaint at the beginning when we released, because people were like, man, we see all this, like, super deep tool on your website. It looks amazing. And then in the app, there's none of that. We're like, yeah, we know
It
it's
takes time.
coming.
It takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I mean, if you want to go on the Oculus store, I mean, this is also a thing. You have a bigger reach, but then you also have a higher standard for the quality standard is much higher. So, every
Of course.
blocks needs to be, overly tested. Yeah, it's all coming. And big update tonight. So if ever you have PatchWorld, I'd say, well, this video is going to be released much later. So
Yeah, next week. No, it's okay.
yes, the release, so that will be out.
Now,
Yeah.
obviously you work, with Meta, but have you been approached or have you talked to any other metaverse companies?
I mean, we've been talking to Pico. I don't know if
Okay.
you call it metaverse company, but yeah, we're talking to Pico. We're in the accelerator of Qualcomm called Snapdragon, so we're working on a mixed
Yep.
reality version. We also
Wow.
I mean, that's also a cool thing coming.
That's
Where
exciting.
we're gonna go have a viewer, like a web viewer, where you can access, the world. So a mixed
So you
reality
don't need a
version.
headset? Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you don't
So
need a headset, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So at least, I mean, for the creation, I think being in the headset will still be the best. But if you're an audience and you wanna join a jam or join a concert or a show, you could do it from your phone. So yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are coming to us right now. We talked with Samsung earlier today. So
Wow.
it's Huawei also contact us. So I feel like this like a very big we're in the radar.
Well, for me personally, I'll be honest, I'm not a big VR guy. I don't like putting the headset on. I like, the real world. I like playing my games on the console. I like playing my games like on a PC. So for me personally, I like how people are, sticking to that. Or hey, we have the web browser version. If you don't like putting the headset on, try it out this way. I think that's awesome. I love that.
Mm.
And Samsung, I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what? It's like they're talking about us. They were asking so many questions. I was like, wait, but we've been talking too much. Tell us why you want to talk to us now,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's more interesting. So let's see. Next week. There's some follow up.
Good luck. No, good luck. Now you talked about it a little bit earlier in the interview, but can you delve a little bit more into Hannah Hannah? Explain how that's kind of coalesced into what PatchWorld is today, and where Hannah Hannah kind of started off as surrealist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hannah, the idea there was so it was not the very first idea of Hana Hana was this Nico Robin power. So from One Piece. So Nico Robin is this character that can replicate her arms and leg onto her enemies and onto any surfaces. So she can basically spawn like and extend her body on anything. And when I was well, I say when I was because I don't feel so much like an artist anymore. Unfortunately, I have just no time to make like art.
Well, I mean, you still are with PatchWorld.
Yeah, of course, but you know, I mean, I do think like being an entrepreneur and pushing a project, from vision to the world. I mean, this is what you do when you're an artist, and you do it with the full, with all your strength and power and trust and and love and I mean, this is fundamentally not so different, but the big difference is like on one hand, it's like I was expressing myself and it was all about me and me, myself and I feel like through PatchWorld this is we're more caring about others than ourselves. Well, we try. Maybe we don't, at the end we're just like caring about it. But yeah, so Anna, so all my work as an artist was always about replicating myself and making kind of extension of my body and like trying to understand who I was through this replicate. And I was using technology to basically, create some experiments where, so I thought the VR is a great medium for it. And when I discovered Nico Robin character and she could like replicate and attack her enemy from any surface, so that's a really cool power to have. So I was like, well, let's try to see how it feels to do this. So so I started to really think about hands and woman's hand as the building blocks of our world. So then it's kind of was like a Minecraft, like sandbox where you can start building things. So it started with this, and then I was like, oh, but that's not enough. And then I wanted more. I was like, oh, I want to give them physics so they're like a bit more alive. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. I was like, oh, but then I want to be more people in this and create with more people because I felt like a little bit alone in that desert. So basically, it's like you had this world was very feminine also, like because you had sculptures which were actually me scanned into a Buddha that was transforming into a lotus. Yeah, it's a little bit weird. So I had this replicate of me as a Buddha changing into a lotus, like on the sand, like in this desert sand, and this very large lake. And then basically the more hand you were creating, the lake was becoming blood and the music was becoming like really like jungle. And so like it feels alone. It's fun, but I kind of want to do more, like so you could create hands. And then I was like, okay, then multiplayer. I created multiplayer, so it was all about like, oh, how you can communicate with each other. But I didn't want to have voice because as I was exhibiting in many different museums, so you had like Japanese people and Russian and in San Francisco. So I was like, but I don't want them to start talking too much or like being like, so I like everything was distorted, and I created my own rule for how you can talk. And then so you can create like this, and then but that's not enough. So then I wanted to recreate this network. So when hands were facing each other, then some electricity would appear. So then you would recreate kind of a network or an internet network within Hana. So the more hand created and the more hand facing each other, it would be like this electric like connection all around the desert. So it started to become like way more industrial than at the beginning, and almost like scary because then you could grab it and then you could do a ritual. So you can grab it and then suddenly it became music. So then you could play this electricity like a theremin, and then you can grab it from multiple players around the world and then play music like this together, like with 5-10 people. And then if you were doing the same movement for a while, then you would start having a ritual and all the hands around would start dancing. and the sky would start raining. No, it was really fucking crazy. I'm sorry for saying this. And
No,
then
it's okay.
like the thunder would start. So yeah, so basically it's like you were just like calling the rain. So it was very mystical, in fact. So yeah, that's the Hannah Hannah in a short.
That's awesome. And now are you still showing Hannah Hannah around or no?
Yeah, I am actually. Well, so the sad thing with Hannah Hannah is like this whole development happened over 5 years. So,
Yeah.
it started as a single player and I always wanted more and more and more and more. And I finally finished it when COVID hit it. So basically it was supposed to have, an amazing life. Like it was supposed to go to Brazil, Russia, like so many things. And then everything got canceled. And 2 years later, well, it just seems like people don't want to see that anymore. They just want to see what's been created during COVID. So it's a little bit
Wow.
sad because it basically got finished and just never really,
Blew
traveled.
up. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I was showing it already since the beginning. So I've showed it, I didn't do the Tribeca style or like, the festival normal things where you finish it and then you premiere it. Actually, I never, I basically stopped showing it when I finished it. And I showed it all the way through the production. So it was always in progress, like, and then in progress forever.
Hey,
But it's actually
sometimes that's how
it's
it
still
is.
showing now. It's still showing. Actually, a distributor contacted me now in France and just he has 8 shows for Hannah Hannah. So maybe it's coming
Wow.
back.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
oh, good for you. That's awesome. Oh,
yeah.
that's something I want to experience. I want to see it. That's for sure.
Well, let you know if it comes to you.
Yeah, please. No, and you were talking about adding new instruments to PatchWorld. Is there any way, and this is going to sound crazy, but is there any way that you can add music that doesn't exist, right? Like, I guess experimental music or experimental instruments. Are you like looking into ways of like maybe even like, I don't know, making new kinds of instruments for your game? Does that make sense? I know that the users already kind of do that in the game, but yeah.
Yeah. So how to answer that? Because I feel like that's kind of what we've done already,
Yeah,
inventing new kind of instrument.
for sure.
Uh, yeah. Uh, I mean, I think some of some people like replicas and play with things that looks like things they know or sounds like things they know, and some are just really like to explore in the unexplored territory. And yeah, so I mean, if you look at Patch, like we basically invented some instruments like the bubble swallower, peyote inspired cacti. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like
Yeah,
very funny instrument that, yeah, and then a violin that you have to massage. Yeah, I mean it is new instrument, and we really like the idea of shaping and the craftsmanship also behind inventing an instrument is very interesting.
for sure. Yeah.
Um,
And with everything that's going on with this whole metaverse explosion and VR, everything is kind of colliding. Where do you see your company in the next 2 years?
So we have a really big ambition that, this could be the next, it's hard to say because there's not really an equivalent because we're a mix of everything. We're a mix of a music software, of a music venue, or an art gallery, uh, of a web platform, like
Yep.
publishing platform. So we basically, it's the merging of when the tool becomes a space, become the platform, when you connect with others, become so we really see that the entire ecosystem could live in Patch. But we are a Swiss company. We haven't raised like 100 million. You know what I mean? It's like we have a huge vision. I think we have a huge potential. I do think like we're right. We have crazy tech, but yeah, you see what I mean.
Oh, for sure.
You need the means to accomplish that. Where it can go. But I really think if things goes well for us, as it seems to be, I would say this might be that place where music is being made and consumed and experienced and shared and in the metaverse. Because if you look right now, in fact, there's not really any equivalent. So
Yeah.
you have music. I mean, you have like companies and studios who build really cool worlds to host festivals and
Yep.
things like this. Or you have other companies that works with famous artists to create these super compelling music shows that you can see in VR. But there's not really any solution for creators to actually from their home build everything they want without using an external studio. And that's really where we fall. So I feel like this could become really big. um and
For sure.
we haven't seen anything quite like that yet.
Neither have I, honestly. Neither have I. And
So
do you have any? So you're on, you know, the Oculus right now. Do you have any plans of going to other VR headsets or other, like Steam, for
yes.
instance, right?
Yeah, we have a PC version already. It hasn't been released on Steam, but it works with Valve. It works with HTC. So we want to be, we're not limiting
For
ourselves
sure.
to the Quest. We're gonna go for Pico probably, and we know that a lot of new headsets are coming. So it's just very important to
Awesome. Well,
be everywhere.
that's exciting. It's really exciting. That's all I had for you, Melody. Is there anything you wanted to add? Anything you want to say?
No, I think it was a good interview.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thank you.
Well, you made me feel comfortable. So
yeah. Awesome.
I think
Thank you.
I hope people will find it interesting and be curious about PatchWorld.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited and intrigued to see where PatchWorld goes. Like I said earlier, I mean, I'm not a big VR person, but I will definitely jump in. I really want to because I love music, so I love playing music too. For me personally, my favorite genre is jazz, and I feel like jazz has always evolved. It's always changed. It's always, it's never stayed the same, right? And I think that's interesting, right? Taking something like music and just putting it into a virtual world. It's exciting. I don't know.
We don't have much wind instrument in Patch yet, so we got a fan. That's what's coming to the new update. So we have a wind blower, but right now there is no tubes in which you can you can blow it through.
Yeah.
But it does move marble and rain. But I feel like wind instruments are coming. They will be fun. It will be super fun.
Awesome.
We got a guitar, so that's also coming in the next update. We got a really cool guitar, and you can build your own guitar actually. So we have chords. So we published one guitar that we made, but basically the most interesting part is like the string blocks. So with the string blocks, you can really build your own guitar, and you can create the case. You can really you can tune it exactly the way you want, and then you can connect it to your synths as well and some effect and create your effect yourself. So
it's boundless. That's awesome.
No, don't let me start it again. Otherwise, we'll like another half hour.
Well, thank you, Melody. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for inviting me. That was a pleasure.
It was awesome. Yeah. I hope your trip in Bali goes well.
Yeah, thanks. Me too. Ciao, ciao.
Take care. Bye.
And if you enjoyed this video you just watched, please hit like and subscribe. And be sure to stop by techtime.com for the latest in news about tech, science, business, and so much more.